Testing. Hey, what's up? My name is Gene. I'm a photographer here in Chicago. And one of the things that I was always curious about when I first started this channel was what gear are YouTubers using? What equipment are they using to make their videos? And I know that gear is not the most important thing, but it's necessary to make these videos. So in this video, I just wanted to go over briefly my processes for how I go about making YouTube videos, and then the equipment that I've been using for the past 6 months and dialing in what I use. So let's just get right into it. This video is sponsored by LaCroix. That's not true. So the way that these videos really start is by making a list of ideas and topics that I want to talk about. So I use an app called Notion, and in that app, I really break out in categories the type of videos I want to make, and then going about scripting and kind of making a production list for how I plan on making those videos. Once that's done, I basically just start brainstorming how I want to shoot that video, where I want to shoot it, what kind of lighting I want to use, what equipment, and then from there, I just go for it. Once those videos are shot, I then bring everything into Final Cut, and then the videos are made. So that's just a brief kind of overview of how I make my videos, the process that I go about as far as start to finish. But what you're probably a little more curious about is the equipment and gear that I use to make these videos. So let's just start with probably the most interesting part that you may be interested in, which is my camera. I have chosen to use my Canon R6. I've maybe filmed probably like 95% of my videos on this camera, blended with my Canon R. And this camera is incredible. I love this camera. I will make a video about this camera and kind of my thoughts of how it functions and how it works for me for the past almost a year now. But this is the camera that I used. All right, so after that now, I primarily shoot with two lenses when I make these videos. The first one is a very recent pickup, which is the Canon 16-35. I think Mark II. Phenomenal lens, love it for videos. And then the second one that I've been using is a Tamron 24-70. So those lenses partnered together are honestly perfect for the type of videos that I make on YouTube. But those are the lenses I primarily use. As far as the cage that I've chosen to kind of put my setup in, came highly recommended. And so my rig setup is all kind of built around the Condor Blue rig for the R6, and it's phenomenal because on it I can mount mics, monitors, lights, etc., handles, whatever it may be. But that's the cage that I use for my R6. And then you'll see that on top of my camera, I do have a monitor that I now also use for two functions. One is to actually monitor exposure, composition, my settings, and everything else. And then the other purpose is attached to my monitor, I do have an SSD that I'm actually writing all of my footage to, and that's the Atomos Ninja 5. As far as audio, this is something that I'm still very much learning and fine-tuning how I want to work. But I do have wireless lavs that I've used, shotgun mics like the Rode Micro or the Video Pro. More recently, I've been using the Zoom H4n recorder to capture most of my audio. And the reason why I like this one is because I can either do it handheld or I can attach a mic like this Shure SM7B and use an XLR cable and then capture that audio. So it's a really nice recorder that I have found for my use is very flexible, but that's the recorder that I use. So those are probably the more fun stuff as far as the gear that I use for these YouTube videos. And then there's other things like lighting. I own a couple Godox lights, but in our studio, I'm always using either Eric or Mike's lights. That's either gonna be a Godox SL120 or a 60, Aperture 300. So with various softboxes, that's typically the lighting that I opt for when I make these videos. I typically have a key light and then some sort of fill, whether it's a hair light in the back or just a little bit of light on the side to fill my face here a little bit. If you've noticed in most of my videos, you'll kind of see this, it may have like a slight dreamy look to it where the highlights or the bright areas of the screen look really kind of soft and hazy. That's because one of the filters that I really like using a lot for these videos is a Tiffin Black Pro Mist. I have the quarter strength, which I find is perfect for the look that I like. And then at times when I'm shooting outside, I will use a variable ND just so that I can still shoot pretty wide open, especially on the lenses that I have that drop down to 2.8 and then not have my image blown out. Last but not least, I use an iPhone 11 as well to get a lot of shots. I've actually made a couple videos exclusively just on this camera. And so this is a tool that I kind of always have on me. And then last but not least, this is a tool that I've really been using a lot and I really enjoy, but I think that it's often overlooked, and that's my iPad Pro 2018. I write almost all of my scripts, all of my shot lists, everything on Notion through my iPad. And that's easily one of the largest tools that I've used so far in the past 6 months to make these videos and really make it more seamless and more easier for me to make these videos. So that's really the equipment that I use and that I've chosen to use now for almost 6 months. I'm sure that if I make another video like this a year from now or 6 months from now at the end of this year, that the equipment that I use will change a little bit. But everything's just been about fine tuning, finding what works for me. I've tried various lenses, I've tried different lights, different scenes, different compositions, but so far I have just found that this is what I like the most. And this is the look that I'm able to produce with the gear that I use. But hopefully that was helpful. Thanks so much. See you guys in the next one. And that's it. Bye.